have to start the show off with the drama Dallas choking Cowboys. And usually we know what to expect with, right, America's team, where they'll win 11, 12 games in the regular season, and then come playoff time, maybe they'll win a game here or there, but when push comes to shove, they're going to come up small on a big stage. And there's really not much else to say at this point with this current Cowboys regime, but when you start to speak and show sensitivity, that's when I start to say, man, this team is really not ready for the moment, and it even makes me double and triple down on that statement that the same old Cowboys will show up when you expect them to in January. I was about to say February for a second, but we know there's no chance that the Cowboys are playing in the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. And there's a reason why this organization and this team hasn't got to a Super Bowl and hasn't got to an NFC title game since the last time they did so in 1995 is because you just look at the way that the team is constructed. There's a lot of good players. There's some really great players. But when I see Dallas, I just go, yeah, they're a good team. And when you get talked about and covered the way that the Cowboys do, I at least appreciate that the Cowboys players are getting annoyed with it. But to voice your frustrations about it now, like how Micah Parsons did the other day, it just doesn't make any damn sense to me. It'd be one thing if you beat the 49ers, but you lost to the 49ers. Not only did you lose to the 49ers, you didn't even show up against the San Francisco 49ers. And then the next week, because you grinded it out against the Los Angeles Chargers, a team that you're better than, but a team that you're very similar to, in which the Chargers are another team that they're a good team. They're a solid team. Like, the Cowboys have a better coach than the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm not ready to say that Dak Prescott is better than Justin Herbert. You know, the weapons on the defensive side of the ball, I think the Cowboys have a much better defense than Los Angeles Chargers. But on the offensive side of the ball, you know, really outside of CeeDee Lamb, it's not as if the Dallas Cowboys are loaded with that many more better weapons than the Los Angeles Chargers. But just beating the Chargers shouldn't elicit a response from the Cowboys now entering a bye week that they need to go on the defense and they need to just show their sensitivity. And that's what transpired the other night on Micah Parsons' podcast. And we'll play that audio in just a second. But the timing of it is what's surprising to me, because your team got emasculated on a big stage 2 weeks ago. And now all of a sudden, after one lousy win against an AFC team that probably won't even make the playoffs this year in the Los Angeles Chargers and is heading towards the direction of having their head coach getting fired, that's the game that you're going to pop off about. That's the game where you're going to say, oh, I'm sick and tired of the way that people talk about the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm sick and tired about the way that they talk about my quarterback in Dak Prescott. Well, it's very simple, Micah Parsons. You don't like the way that people talk about your team. How about your team shows up against the 49ers? Or how about your organization does something, as I said, that they have not done since the 1995 season? And I'm not even talking about getting to a Super Bowl. Just get to an NFC title game, for crying out loud. So I don't understand the Cowboys yapping this week, whether it's McCarthy, whether it's Micah Parsons. What is it going to accomplish? Just because Micah Parsons basically gets on his podcast and starts popping off and shouting about people that are talking down about the Cowboys and he's sick and tired of it, you think that's going to stop people like me? You think that's going to stop any other logical person that understands what your football team is? And we all know that your football team is fraudulent, where everyone goes, oh, how about them Cowboys? Oh, the Cowboys, oh, they're this wonderful team. Oh, they dress up as the part last year with back-to-back 12-win seasons. How'd the playoffs work out? What happened in the playoffs? Against the same team back-to-back years, your offense failed. So that's why there's legitimate criticism about the Dallas Cowboys quarterback and also this Dallas Cowboys team. And I don't think the criticism is rooted in a bad place. Like, sure, when you listen to me, I enjoy seeing the drama Dallas choking Cowboys be the drama Dallas choking Cowboys. But I think a lot of people, yeah, you could say that they get annoyed with the America team tag and all that. But a lot of people are just good football fans. A lot of people are just actually starting to get tired of seeing the same script year in and year out with the Dallas Cowboys, where because of how many Cowboys fans are, where how powerful the brand is of the star and how much we talk about the Cowboys and other people talk about the Cowboys with how big of a topic they are. The Cowboys are kind of almost as if that movie that you watch that's really good and you sit there with your significant other, you sit there with your buddies and you love this one movie. And when the movie goes through and you go through the plot, you know how the movie's going to end. Everyone knows the ending, but every time you sit there on the edge of your seat with your popcorn and your fingers covered in butter and all that, and you got some candy and like a soda or a club soda, whatever you're drinking, and you try to think that there's going to be a different outcome. And you try to guess what's going to happen in the movie. But you know what's going to happen. The Cowboys are the same thing as reading the same book 10 times. You know what's going to happen, but your brain tries to trick you into that the ending is going to be different this time. But I don't give a rat's ass what Micah Parsons says. I don't care how annoyed he gets. I know what I watch with the Dallas Cowboys. I know what these Dallas Cowboys are. They're the same Dallas Cowboys the last 2 years, and they've been the same Dallas Cowboys for pretty much the last 20 years. Well, they'll put up nice numbers. They'll put up a nice win total. Maybe some people will jump on the bandwagon, throw the cowboy hat on, and scream, "How about them Cowboys?" and be insufferable. But when the games get bigger, when the moment gets brighter, and when it is playoff time and it's put up or shut up consistently, this team is going to have the same damn result that they've had for the last 20-plus years. Well, they won't be going to an NFC title game, and you could forget about it. You could laugh that they would even be in a Super Bowl, let alone hoisting that Lombardi trophy. And it's in their head. They know what the conversation is about them. They know that they've come up short before on a big stage. There's a reason why in Oxnard 2 off seasons ago, in training camp, you have Jerry Jones like a buffoon sitting up there practicing raising a Lombardi trophy in training camp because he doesn't even remember what the Lombardi trophy looks like because it's been so long. So the timing of this is just bizarre to me because the criticism, it's not as if it's unfair. It would be one thing if the criticism was not warranted, and I could understand why the Cowboys would use their bye week to pop off and to try to take down people that are being critical of them. But when you have accomplished basically nothing this year, and I don't want to say the regular season means nothing, but when the regular season is marinated in, well, we know that you guys are going to be a double-digit win team. We all acknowledge, no one says, oh, the Cowboys suck. We all know the Cowboys are a good team. But there's a difference in a good team to a very good team, and there's a difference from a very good team to a great team. And the Cowboys aren't close to being a great team because they don't show up in the big moments. And you had a golden opportunity 2 weeks ago to shut a lot of people up and take down the San Francisco 49ers. If you did that and you beat the Chargers and you wanted to use your bye week to say, oh, everyone criticizes Dak, everyone criticizes the Cowboys, you guys are just a bunch of haters and it needs to stop, fine. Now, there would still be some merit to people saying, well, you got to show up and you got to go to an NFC title game. You got to go win a Super Bowl. There would still be merit to that, but the timing of it wouldn't make sense because the Cowboys would be giving you something that you could chew on and something that is being delivered to you where maybe it could make you alter and change the thinking of your opinion. But with what the Cowboys have showed the last 2 weeks, it just further reiterates what the feeling is about the Cowboys, where when you go up against another great team in the 49ers, you get waxed. You regressed. It wasn't as if you even showed up and you came down to Dak choking on a big stage like it did the last 2 years. The third quarter, the fourth quarter didn't even matter 2 weeks ago. And then you go up against an opponent in the Chargers who are like in your weight class, but you know that you're higher up in the weight class and you're perceived to have longer history and a better team than a team that's in the same weight class as you. And you're able to squeak by, grind out a victory where at times it looks like you were going to lose, and then you find a way to pull it out at the end, even though you were trying to give the game away to the other team. But coming off that game, it shows you how minor league the Cowboys are right now, where that's going to be the game that you're going to pop off, and that's going to be the game that you talk smack, and almost as if it should wipe away the massacre that occurred 2 weeks ago, which we all know it was an NFC game compared to an AFC game, and it was a much bigger measuring stick game and a pulse check for the Dallas Cowboys, because that's a team that you will probably face again at some point this year, because the Cowboys will be in the playoffs. So after setting that up for you and voicing my opinion and just being clearly just like laughing at the frustration that you're hearing from the Dallas Cowboys, let's play you the clip. This is Micah Parsons on his podcast where his feelings were hurt about the way that people are talking about the Dallas Cowboys these days.
I just don't condone the bashing of Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys and have the same energy for the Eagles. We want the same energy for everybody, because there's a whole bunch of bashing when it's Dak Prescott, but not the same when it's the Eagles. I got time today. A lot of people said the Browns defense was overhyped. I said the Browns are the real deal. Acho said this, which pissed me off. I'm not worried about the 49ers. They were missing Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. The Browns were missing Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb. They were missing them key factors before the game even started. So why is it that we are just scrubs and we're nobodies that don't deserve to be on the field and we're just all talk? But there's 100 excuses for these other teams. If y'all just gonna hate Cowboys Nation, just say y'all hate Cowboys Nation. I'm tired of people trashing my quarterback. I'm tired of people trashing my team. And that's why I had nothing to say to the media this week.
So we know Micah Parsons is delusional. He's a great football player, but he's delusional. Like, remember the cuts we played from his podcast after they got destroyed by the 49ers? He's like, oh, we're only a few plays away. There's not that big of a difference between the Cowboys and the 49ers. Well, the win-loss column, they would say there's a big difference the last 3 years when you guys have gone up against one another, and the Cowboys have not found a way to get a victory the last 3 times they played the San Francisco 49ers. And for him to say, and it just shows you how soft the Cowboys have become and how sensitive the Cowboys have become, where he's going to say, oh, well, I see people making excuses for the Eagles. I see people making excuses for the 49ers. Well, the 49ers wake up each and every year in the NFC title game. Now, they haven't won a Super Bowl, but they own your ass, and they're in the NFC title game each and every year. And the Philadelphia Eagles, last time I checked, they were the NFC representative in the Super Bowl last year. So those teams get the benefit of the doubt. Those teams, after one loss, I'm not going to freak out about the 49ers. I'm not going to freak out about the Philadelphia Eagles, because you can't freak out after one lousy game in the NFL. With the Cowboys, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? Why do you want me to give your team the benefit of the doubt? You guys haven't given us anything to make me suggest that this year is going to be different than the other two. And to make matters worse, it's even regressed to a spot where at least 2 years ago, you have showed up in those games and then you failed down the stretch. Where this time around, and what happened 2 weeks ago, you guys didn't even have a pulse right out of the gate. So it's just an absolute joke that the Cowboys are running and running their mouths off this week. Let's hear from Mike McCarthy. This was on the Fan in Dallas. Mike McCarthy elected to defend his quarterback in Dak Prescott.
What he endures mentally and emotionally compared to the other 31 is unique. I've never seen, and speaking on experience of being around great quarterbacks, I've never seen a quarterback under a microscope like he is, and he's been dealing with this a long time here. The intensity is like I said, nothing like I've ever seen.
Come on. You coached Aaron Rodgers. You have coached in a league that has had Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, who early on in his career couldn't beat anyone in the postseason. I'm playing a small violin for Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy that Dak is under the fire with a lot of criticism. And don't tell me that Dak's this great quarterback. Dak's a good quarterback. Dak's a very good quarterback. But he's not someone that makes me shake in my boots. He's not someone that I'd say he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And if you don't want criticism directed to the way of Dak Prescott, tell him to show up in the last 2 playoff games, something he didn't do when his defense played his ass off. So all this stuff is just ridiculous. It really is. It is absolutely ridiculous that the Cowboys are this sensitive. And I actually thought they were better than that. I did. Shame on me for thinking the Cowboys were better than that. Not that their team is this great, wonderful team, that they wouldn't get so annoyed about what's being said. Because almost everything that's being said about the Cowboys is fair and it's accurate. And if you want people like me to shut up, then go win games when they matter. Go to an NFC title game. Go to a Super Bowl. And don't just sit there and bitch and complain and whine and go, oh, people hate us. Oh, this is unfair. The criticism about Dak. Oh, people just hate the Cowboys. They make excuses for the 49ers. They make excuses for the Eagles. Stop with that nonsense. Stop with that baloney. Stop with that hogwash. Because you don't have a leg to stand on this year to voice those concerns when your team 2 weeks ago got destroyed by the 49ers, and now we got to throw a party. Now we got to throw a fiesta because they just survived against the Los Angeles Chargers. So enough with the Cowboys and their bitching and complaining.